Hopefully this keeps up with what I'm doing. Okay, I think it's fixed. I don't know what the issue was. It's kind of annoying though. Sorry about that. So, all I'm really doing right now is working on a character spreadsheet for one of the many characters of the manga title that I'm working on. And I'm starting from literally nothing, so concept idea, kind of expand on it, figure out what you want your story to be like, what your characters are going to be like, what they might look like, what they might wear, and then you start your character spreadsheets and you start fleshing them out a little bit more and figuring out exactly how you want them, and then try to plan out all of their expressions and stuff and get a better sense of who this person that doesn't exist is. And then you could even take it a step further if you want to. You probably should, and just figure out what colors go per character. Like what skin color, clothing color, all that stuff. It'll help dictate how you write them and how you draw them. And this guy right now is one of my first few original characters, and his name is Tomo. And as you can see, I am still figuring him out. Not exactly completely nailed him down yet, but that's the point of the character spreadsheet. What I'm using right now, if anybody is not familiar, is Clip Studio on the iPad Pro. In my opinion, it's one of the best drawing and painting applications you can use on a mobile device. I don't want that there. Part of the reason why I thought this channel would be cool is because from what I've seen a lot of the time when you see like finished pieces of artwork or finished projects or full completed printed mangas, and you're just like, whoa, how the hell did they do that? That's crazy. And you don't get to see all the trial and error and the screw-ups and the amount of times something was erased and redrawn until it got to where it was looking how it does when the consumer finally picks it up in the store. And I think that some people who feel like they see those things and think that they're not good enough or couldn't do something like that get deterred because they feel like it's some massive amount of talent that goes into it, when really it is talent, but it is a lot of more hard work and effort and trial and error and draw and redraw until you get it right. Trust me, a lot of these poses, a lot of these faces looked really funny when I started drawing them in different angles. They didn't look like the same person. I had to change, free transform, move crap around, flip it to look on the other side, vertically, upside down, change it all different kinds of ways to make look at it all different angles and figure out why this angle didn't look like the other one. Dude, already? It's a fucking terrible look. I should have paid attention to that. I'm just curious, are you guys able to type in the chat or no? I don't know if that's something that you have to unlock with a certain amount of followers, or if people can utilize it whenever they feel like it. I'm just going to take a second here and let this pencil charge. It's one of the only irritating things about the iPad Pro versus Wacom. The Pro is definitely really useful and really nice, but it's kind of irritating to have to be close to a plug in the wall to keep it charged, or to have to monitor the charge of your pencil and stop what you're doing. It always happens right when you're in the middle of something and you don't want to stop. It fucking dies. Come on. 11%. Just give me one more minute. One good thing about the pencil is when you do have to charge it, you can leave it in there for literally like 60 seconds and it'll be like 50 or 60% charged. And then that'll last you, depending on how much you're using it, half the day or maybe more, if you're not really going too hard with the drawing and painting that day. But anybody just coming in now, basically all I'm doing right now is I'm working on a manga title from scratch, which means I need to come up with my original characters from scratch, which means I need to do a whole lot of trial and error sketching to get these made-up people to look the same in every angle that I would have to draw them from in the scenes of the manga. So it's probably not the most exciting part of it. I definitely like to just jump straight into inking pages and things like that, and I have done that. It turned out to be a waste of time, because what you do is you start getting into, oh, I know exactly what I want to do for this page specifically, right? Just the one page you have in mind because you're excited to work on it. So you start going, and then you realize, oh crap, page 2. I have like 3 other characters, in chapter 1, and on page 2, one of them shows up. So it's like, I don't have that person planned out. I don't know what they look like. I don't know. So then you gotta, it's a lot of back and forth. So in this instance, it is actually saving time to sit down and take the time to figure out the characters before you begin. Juicy Manga. What program are you using? I am using Clip Studio Paint. Is it still called that? I think it's still called that. It used to be called Manga Studio, I think, and then they changed it to Clip Studio. on the iPad Pro. I believe the app itself is free. If not, it's maybe like $4.99 or something. And then if you want, you can do a pro subscription to it, which is not expensive at all, in my opinion. I think it's like, I mean, don't quote me because it's been so long since I signed up for it, but maybe like $20 tops or something. And it just unlocks a whole lot of other features in the program. So, in my opinion, the whole thing itself is worth it, so it didn't even feel bad for me to be spending money. 29%, let's roll with that. Yeah, no problem. Alright, let's get back into this. Trying to figure out some colors for how this guy is going to look. And we need some more shadows, and when you're doing shadow, it's more like moving toward the absence of color. So you just push more this way, toward the gray side, but not completely, because it's not grayscale. And then you just go back in, and just kind of guess where you think some shadows would belong. And really, when you're making a manga, it's all black and white, right? It's just lines and screen tones and things like that. So it's not critical that you have the colors for your characters nailed down before you start. But you also got to think about eventually, if you do get as far with it as you want to, you got to have your cover and the back of the book art, which is more than likely most of the time in color. And some comics, or manga, or whichever, also have like the first couple pages of each chapter are color. It all guess it depends on how you want to do it, but if anything, I find it's a nice break in between the just sketching lines, taking a breather and putting in color instead. Just to switch it up so you don't get too bogged down. It looks better, but I don't think I'm pushing it far enough in terms of light and shadow. I think there could be more contrast in the face. I don't know if it'd be more realistic that way or not. I just think that it would, aesthetically, it would look nicer. It all depends on how harsh the light source is, and since there literally is no light source and I'm kind of just making it up as I go, I guess you can kind of just work with what you think looks best. But one thing I did make myself remember is that usually next to a really dark shadow is probably a pretty decent highlight. So if you kind of bump those two next to each other in your drawings and paintings and stuff, it'll really flesh it out a lot more. Alright, let's go a little bit darker and then give skin tone a rest and move on to the rest of them. Let's see what else we can figure out. Let's go this way. Yeah. it down a little bit. Yeah, that looks better. Let's do a couple more dark spots and then get out of the skin tone for now. I honestly don't know if a shadow would go there or not. I'm just kind of doing it because it feels like it would. And if it looks right, then it probably is right. And alright, I could keep pushing and pulling this forever. Let's switch out of there and go to a different color. Or a different spot. Hair color. I honestly don't know what to do for this guy. That's like straight up pink. I don't know if it's... Is that too much? I don't know if that's too much. See? Screw it. Let's roll with it and see what happens. It's digital anyways, so if this isn't gonna fly, we can just delete the layer and move on. Excuse me. To a different color. This always makes a big difference too when you throw the color on the eyebrows. It can help you decide. For some reason it just feels different when you put the color to the eyebrows. I don't know, I think I kind of like it. Ooh. No, okay. Yeah. I actually think I'm going to keep it that color. It's a crazy color, but who cares, right? Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, you definitely can make stuff like this. Hey, well, let me show you something. So, for a long time, like, I'm weird with what I like to do, my hobbies and stuff. I'll start doing something, and I'll do that thing only for a really long time. And then out of nowhere, I'll just get tired of it and stop completely and do something else. And it'll just kind of cycle through that until I get back to that same hobby. And that's how it is with art for me. And I did not draw for months. And I couldn't draw at all when I tried to start again. So it's been about 2 months since I've been drawing again, every single day. And this is what the character looked like. This is actually... Let me get a face here. Let me pull the face off, and I'll show you who the character turned out to be once I put more work into it. and fleshed her out more and continued to work on drawing throughout the last couple months. This is this same character after a couple of months of drawing every single day. Not even, in my opinion, in the same realm as what I put together on this character sheet. So, the point is, everybody's a beginner until they're not. All you gotta do is draw every single day and not worry about whether other people think it's good or not, because when I drew that face that I just showed you, I knew it wasn't good. Like, I could look at it when I was done and tell myself it's okay, but it's not that great. And it's not that big of a deal, because at the end of the day, you can just redraw it and keep redrawing it and keep practicing. The amount of time you practice is the amount of time you let yourself practice. You know? If you really want to do it, you'll find the time to do it. And the more you do practice, the better you're going to get, until you find a spot where you're comfortable with what you're doing a little bit more than what you were when you were the quote-unquote beginner. So, shoot, I bet you there's people that are looking at your art or things that you draw and think that they're, you know, a less of a talent level than you are. And just how I have people that I look up to that I think are insane artists that I will never catch up to. It's good to have that, though, because if you don't, then you don't have anything pushing you to be better. You need some kind of, in my opinion, it's good to have some kind of outside source to drive you toward a goal, through you wanting to be as good as or be better than somebody else who's doing something that you want to do. That's just my opinion, though. And I don't think those colors are too different enough. You see, I just put down all that quotation mark shadow, but it's not different enough to distinguish that it's even there. It just kind of looks like a mistake, almost. That's better. Nope, that doesn't make any sense. If I'm having all the light on the right side and the shadow on the left, then having competing shadows is just going to make it look really weird. Unless you got some crazy light source scheme going on. I don't want to spend too much time on one spot, since I'm not trying to do a fully rendered painting. I'm just kind of trying to scribble some stuff in there to get a feel for it. Let's throw in a highlight and move on to something else. don't want to make it, I mean, it's not true for every character, but in my opinion, characters with really highlighty, really shiny hair tend to look a little bit more feminine just because of that. So I don't want to put too much on it because it's a dude with pink hair. Just enough to try to show some kind of form. Whatever, that works. And let me just fix these eyebrows quick because they aren't dark enough. There we go. What's next, do you think? Eye color? Let's look for eye color. Oh. Anti-freeze green. How about that? Why not? Anti-freeze green. And then some black. Actually, let's just go to this. Some black for the pupil. And white overlay? Nah, not yet. I'm not gonna get into all that. There is not enough shadow inside the nose. How about that? Is that better? Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I said I wasn't gonna do it and I went back to the skin. Yeah, this is probably too much contrast, but I'm doing it anyways. Well, maybe not. Maybe it was needed. Might have been needed. It's really making the face pop a lot more. Whatever, it don't matter. Let's go to a fake black and fill in here. Try to get it more like a mouth. And then go darker. Oops. Not what I wanted. Got it all over his teeth. He needs to brush his teeth. Honestly, I could probably steal one of these shades from the hair to go on the tongue. I don't know, maybe it's a little bit too red. I guess it doesn't really matter that much. I'm just trying to get an idea. And alter the lip color just a little bit. Maybe that's too much. It's just blending too much with the rest of the face. You don't need to do a whole lot, like just barely. That's okay, I guess. I just realized I completely missed the ear. Screw it. It's entirely in shadow. Next. Alright. Any suggestions on what the coat color should be? I know one thing only, is that this spot right here is gonna be black. This stripe down here. And these little sections right here. But the rest of the coat, I don't know. I haven't nailed that down yet. Yeah, I just realized that for some reason this thing has been on mute, so I seriously hope everything I just said wasn't completely lost. That would suck. Hope not. You may or may not already know this, but it took me a long time to let it sink in, really, before I started implementing it. And what I did, eyes are not completely white. You could honestly go in and color them gray and then lighten it up with some lighter shades of gray. And it would look significantly better than it would if you just let them stay plain white. Like that. I mean, there's no white in there, that's just different shades of gray. Alright. Here's the trouble. What color will go well with bright pink red hair and green eyes? I don't think so. He's supposed to be kind of like leaning toward medic doctor type character. So I don't want to leave it white. That's boring. What if I go with the eye color and just go darker? Maybe that'd be a good idea. Let's try, what's this evergreen green color? And hopefully it doesn't come out looking like Christmas with red and green. Maybe it'll be enough on the gray side of things that it won't look like I'm trying to draw the Grinch's cousin or something. This is going to take forever, so let's up this size. There we go. Just a second while I scribble this in. That could work. I think that could work. It's not so bright green that it doesn't look like I'm trying to draw Christmas. How come I picked this, went toward this color is, A, it'll kind of match up with the eyes a little bit in terms of green, side of the color wheel stuff. Fancy. And B, I used to be in the Army, and I was thinking like medic, Army field medic, that type of thing, and then it led me to Army green, which I think this is kind of more of an Army green color. Like the old uniforms, old camo. And I think it's working out. We'll see once we put some more into it. Shadows in there, inside of the hood. And then I guess throw some around out here. Try to emphasize folding. I don't know exactly what kind of cloth material this would be. If it would be like windbreaker or cotton poly or whatever, but I didn't really draw it with any of that in mind. I just kind of threw it in there and drew the clothing folds how I usually draw them. If it was a specific kind of material, they would probably appear one way or another, more angular if the material was tougher instead of more cottony. Shadow there for the hairpiece, shadow there for the hair. That there. I don't know where a shadow would be on this side, but I'm just gonna randomly do this and hope it comes out the way I want it to. Just scribble on this whole side of the head and figure it out. I don't know, man. I guess that could look right. Sort of. It passes. Throw this in here. And this. And this. Now we got the base color down and we got the shadow down. We can collect this color back and pull up the color again and bring it up and more towards saturation on the right side, away from the gray side, and use that as a highlight, but not too much because I feel like that is pushing more toward the too bright Christmas green, and it'll completely take away from why I like the color. Yeah, like, I don't know if I want to put all too much of that on there. It's already kind of leaning in a direction that I don't like. Oh, probably should have said this a long time ago, but sorry for the really lame music. YouTube has issues with people playing music that's copyrighted, even though people have bought and paid for it and whatever. I can't pull up my iTunes and put on some interesting music without causing a problem, so we're stuck listening to this bland techno on repeat. Alright, let's go to the black now. Black. Find some different music to listen to. Something has to be better than this. Anything. Let's try this. That's not the music, that's an ad. It's a little better, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe it's not better at all. Alright, let's up the brush size so I'm not here doing this forever. And just scribble this in. Like I said, I'm not trying to make like a masterpiece here. All I'm seriously worried about right now is the line work. All this stuff. For figuring out the character in general. The color is just kind of like an additive that I can keep in mind while I'm drawing. And possibly use later on for like cover art and stuff like that. But not the main focus here at the bottom of the ladder when we're starting from nothing. The main focus is just getting your characters out of your head and fleshing them out as much as you possibly can. Otherwise, you're just going to be spinning your wheels. that like that, and pull this color again. Yeah. I think that's that then. There's... And that doesn't have to be final, even though I just spent the last 45 minutes scribbling random sections of color into this made-up thing. And it's, somewhat complete now. This isn't set in stone. I could change my mind later on, I guess. If I decide I just don't like it. And change some other color, change the hair, change something. That's part of the thing that's really nice about digital. Even if you think a character or a page that you drew for your manga is perfect, and you just keep cruising along and you're 30 pages deep or whatever, and you go back in the beginning to check through it and look and see if you notice that there's some errors and stuff, you can easily fix that without next to no effort. That's why even professional manga artists who came up through like Bleach and Naruto, and even older artists that influenced them to make their comic, they may have started and finished their series drawing everything by hand on paper, but as they're now at the point where they're finishing their serializations, like Naruto and Bleach and stuff like that, these artists are telling people at like Comic-Cons and stuff, when they go and ask them questions, that they would not recommend doing manga the traditional way anymore on paper and pen and stuff like that. It's good to know and to practice that just a little bit, to know where it all started from and all that stuff. But in terms of productivity and just your own overall health in general, if you're going to dive into this and do it really seriously and try to make a career out of it, it'll be significantly better for anybody in general to do it digitally. I think I'm going to call the stream there. I'll be streaming again tomorrow for a longer period of time. It's Sunday, and family's got to go back to work starting tomorrow, so I'm going to go spend time with them. Thanks for stopping in and watching me work. Hopefully I'll see you guys again. I'll drop another, I guess, notification on Instagram. I'll be posting those similar photos saying when, live stream starting in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. So if you follow me on Instagram, you can look me up under the same exact name, Chromatic Black, and follow me there, and you'll see those posts. And if you're not subscribed to me here yet, subscribe to this channel and then turn on the notification bell, and every time I go live or do anything on this channel, you'll get a notification that I'm working, and you can come watch.